Well, I'm glad to be with you today. I hope this works out pretty well. My name is Rick Zehrer. I spent 30 years in the United States Air Force, spent most of it flying fighter aircraft, and I'll talk about that in a minute. As I said, the good old Air Force, part of the team, one service out of several. We now have, of course, the Army, the Navy, the Marine Corps, and of course the Marine Corps is part of the Navy as it's organized, Coast Guard, and now recently United States Space Command. During my 30 years, I did quite a few different things. Most of it was flying, but I started off as a personnel officer for 2 years, and the Vietnam War was getting heated up, and I decided to see if I could go to pilot training, learn how to fly. I did that. I was finished up flying training pretty well out in Arizona, and I stayed on for another 4 years as an instructor teaching other people how to fly. Then I went to training for the F-4 to go to Vietnam, the F-4 Phantom, which is a fighter aircraft. And I spent a year in Vietnam, first 6 months flying combat missions, and the second 6 months down in Saigon, briefing the four-star general on how the war was going. I would much rather have been in combat, risking my life, hurling my pink body at the earth, as opposed to standing up on the stage every morning at 7:30 trying to describe to a four-star general, of course I was a captain at the time, how his war was going. Anyway, moving right along, one of the questions that you asked was describe a normal day in the military. That's hard to do because every day has a changing environment. As a personnel officer, I was sitting at a desk and working with people that worked for me in a very quiet, benign atmosphere. Then I went off to fly, and every day is different there. You're working with different people. You worry about everything from the weather to the maintenance people that are working on your aircraft, to the refuelers, to all the hundreds of people that support you when you go to fly. And that's one of the things I learned early in my career is spend a lot of time paying attention to the people that are working with you and for what you're doing, because you will not survive if you don't have a great team of people working to get that mission done. In combat in Vietnam, every day was, of course, very different. Some days we were out blowing up trees, trying to destroy a road that the North Vietnamese were using. Other days we were helping our troops, our Marines and Army troops on the ground, and they'd call in air support, which was our most demanding mission because our bombs and our bullets had to be right on the target to make sure we didn't hurt any of our own people. So those were, I would say, the most rewarding missions that we ever flew. Anyway, my point there is that every day is different, but you are working with outstanding people because everybody going into the military is virtually hand-selected. They're all volunteers. We were through with the draft where we used to pick numbers and pull people into the military whether they wanted to go or not. Well, that's a whole different discussion. Where did I travel? That was another question you asked. I was lucky. I spent a lot of years overseas. In fact, I think it was about 13 of my 30 years I was overseas. I even went to high school in Germany when my dad was Army. He was a career Army officer. And so I spent my freshman, sophomore, and junior year in high school over in Germany. And this was back in the 1950s. And he was still in downtown Kaiserslautern, where I was. There were still remnants of the war, buildings still blown up and all the rest of that. Anyway, I spent time in my career. I spent time in England, Italy, several tours in Germany, Australia, Hawaii. That's not overseas, it's the United States, but that was an overseas tour, and just had a great time. Saw a lot of the world, and met some very, very interesting people. Another question, how did serving in the military impact my life outside of the military? I guess the main thing that I brought out of the military after 30 years was, as a veteran, supporting the people that are still on active duty, and those people that come back from combat, wounded or injured. And that's what I do now. I spend most of my time in volunteer activities supporting the people that are still fighting, or the veterans, and doing other community service, because when I was in the military, the community did so much to support me in various ways. I am now in the stage of my life where I'm giving back to those that supported me. Just a couple other quick ones before we wrap up. Military friendships was one of the questions that you gave me the answer, or offered to me. Great friendships in the military. Again, all the people, just about everybody you're working with or serving with is hand-selected. They all have their particular expertise, and they're just marvelous people. It's a relatively drug-free environment. It's a healthy environment. We all have the same mission. We want to support our country and deter any bad people from doing bad things. So we all have a common mission, and it's a lot of fun while doing a great job. The last question I'll answer is, what was your most challenging thing that I faced in the military? I guess the big challenge was very often changing jobs. Like I said, I was in personnel, flying. I had to fly different types of aircraft, learn how to fly those aircraft. And then in the last 4 years of my career, I was in the communications and computer field. They wanted some operational leadership in that business. So I learned a lot there. It also gave me a good background for when I get out of the military, I could go into private business working in that field. But that was the challenging part, was learning new things virtually every day and working with other people and the changing environment. It was fascinating. It was a challenge. I love challenge. And it was just a marvelous experience. So anyway, thank you for allowing me to talk with you today. And I will wish all of you, some of you have parents or friends or siblings in the military. God bless them, and thank them for their service. And we'll enjoy our Veterans Day. Thank you.